Hello, this is J.N.S, and today we are continuing with the Divine Feminine series, and we are on part 3, and that is Chaos Intelligence. I really want to talk to you guys about what this means as it relates to the Divine Feminine. First, I do want to preface this by saying that this will be a heavily esoteric topic. I also will be channeling in this video talking about the realm of the chaos intelligence. I would say it's totally worth staying to the end as far as you ladies, but I just want to preface with, that this is a more metaphysical video. We are going to get into some scientific terms and I'll explain some things, but I really want to talk to you about chaos intelligence. Now, if you're new to the Divine Feminine series, I do want to encourage you to watch the entire series in its entirety, as well as the Queen Mothership material. Now, there was a Queen Mothership Part 1, which covers the history of matriarchies among melanated culture, and then there's a Queen Mothership Part 2, Enterprise Architecture, in which we discuss what would a Queen Mothership matriarchy look like in terms of governance and social structures in 2023. What would that look like if we were to build intentional communities, or to have our own governance, or to have our own ideas of self-sufficiency and self-determination as melanated people led by the melanated woman? And so that information is also out there. And now we're in the age of Divine Feminine, and so I'm doing the Divine Feminine series to make sure that, the information is out there regarding what it means to be in the age of Aquarius, what it means to be in the age of Divine Feminine. So part 1 starts with the primordial water and primordial darkness as it relates to the Divine Feminine. And then we went into part 2, in which we talked about the Pleiades star cluster, which is like the 7 sisters. And then we got into the Chrome Mother Saturn energy. Saturn is a feminine planet, believe it or not. And then we did cover an esoteric topic as it relates to the Divine Feminine amongst a video breakdown of Megan Thee Stallion's new video called Cobra. So we did break that down as well, so you might want to check that out. And so that's going to give you some great prerequisite knowledge to understanding chaos intelligence, particularly primordial waters part 1, because we had to take this out into the galactic sense, and then we're going to bring it down more into the earthly realm and as it relates to female humans. But right now we're still at the essence of the Divine Feminine itself as a energy. And so we start that with primordial darkness that births, obviously, consciousness and resonance and electromagnetism and strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, gravity and whatnot. And so we had to start it there. And so now we're on chaos intelligence, which is still in the interstellar sense. But I promise you guys will love this. You guys will walk away as miniature masters, ascended masters, will you, if you can understand this chaos intelligence, especially you melanated women, because this really relates to your ass. This relates to women in general, the idea of chaos intelligence. But when we talk about the primordial waters and dark energy and melanin, chaos intelligence certainly stems from you as the first human on this planet, or being rather. And so we will start. I am going to get into some channeling in a bit. First of all, break down what is chaos intelligence. And so chaos intelligence is the dark energy that births consciousness. Okay? And so you have this primordial waters, you have primordial darkness, right? And so if you understand what I talked about in Divine Feminine Part 1, we talked about the primordial darkness as an entity, as an essence. But what is the characteristic of the primordial darkness, the primordial mother, the primordial waters? It's chaos intelligence. That is the personality, will you, if you had to, think of it in that way, of primordial darkness. So think of it as that. And so this is a powerful energy that is a creator. It's also a destroyer. But it gives birth to consciousness. This idea of thought itself. And then consciousness gives birth to your 5 governing forces of the universe. Now, they only recognize 4. I told you guys that there was a 5th one called resonance, and now the scientists are, low-key, there's a 5th law, but we don't know what it's called, because they be monitoring everything I say and do at these, at a certain level. And so they just literally, I posted a video and some writing material about the 5th governing law of the universe being resonance, and then a week later, they post an article talking about there may be a 5th governing law of the universe, but we don't quite understand it. It's resonance. And so, consciousness gives birth to those 5 governing forces. You have resonance, your electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, and gravity. And so, the chaos intelligence is not quite the same as consciousness, okay? It is an element. So consciousness is an element of chaos intelligence, okay? And so this, I have to do a whole video on this, but we want to talk about this concept of zero and infinity at the same time when it comes to chaos intelligence, and in terms of like these elements that make it up. Okay, so you have one. Let's get into the elements that make up chaos intelligence. The first one is consciousness. Then you have entropy, melanin, and dark energy. Okay, so now you know that they say the dark energy makes up about 68 to 95% of the universe, and it stretches the fabric of space. So the dark energy expands the universe, will you? So consciousness is embodied in chaos intelligence, but it's not the same thing. It's like an ingredient. And so the same can be said with chaos intelligence and dark energy. They are not quite the same. Dark energy is inside of chaos intelligence. Chaos intelligence is inherently entropic in a sense. It's black in color. It's feminine. And so let's explain what chaos intelligence is. That is randomness. It's a state of disorder that ultimately leads to order in universal law. So regarding the building of galaxies, the building of solar systems, the building of planets and species, you have this universal laws that, to be honest, depending on what universe you are in, believe it or not, it can be random. Okay, you can change these laws at will. For this particular dimension, Tahuti, he gives you the laws that we sent him down here to tell you guys about, which is the universe's mental law is mental. There is a level beyond that, but we did not feel that you guys were ready for that yet. You guys damn near could barely understand the shit that Tahuti was talking about, and that was and we sent him down here thousands and thousands of years ago. Y'all still struggling with that, and that's not coming at nobody, because there's been a lot of war on humanity and humanity's consciousness as to why that happened. So that's not entirely your fault. Even though all the information is out there, you have literally been 24/7 under pure psyops and attacks on your consciousness and soul, as far as your attention span. So, we're not going to hold it too much against anybody. But the chaos intelligence is a degree of disorder or uncertainty in a system. Okay, so it's the degradation of matter and energy in the universe to an ultimate state of inert uniformity. Okay, and entropy is the general trend of the universe. It is toward disorder, and that's what chaos intelligence is. But again, this intelligence is extremely random, but it's order. It's a level of genius that you would never see. Okay, and so like all processes in the universe, the total energy is expended, okay, and is to bring the net system in thermal equilibrium, and so entropy continuously increases. So that is why entropy is an element of chaos intelligence. Okay, it is an element of it. It is this degree of uncertainty in a system, in the universe, the unknown, the great unknown. And then you have your melanin, you have your dark energy. And you have your consciousness, and the consciousness is what makes it intelligent. The consciousness is like a system, and I'm gonna make a chart on this. I'm gonna make a whole graph for you guys on this chaos intelligence stuff, because I've been seeing what it looks like in my mind. And so the consciousness is what orders it. The melanin is also this essence of high level self-awareness, but it does a lot more than that. It does a lot of conducting. It also regulates radiation. It regulates radiation in the universe, believe it or not. Also you guys know melanin shields your ability against radiation, even on planet Earth. And also because, we've always dealt with satellites and electromagnetism, electronics. So melanin also deals with shielding abilities against electronics and satellites. That's why, like, a lot of times, the universe will shut your satellites off like it's nothing. Like the chaos intelligence, the primordial mother, like they just released one of them articles. I think I put it up somewhere, where they was talking about, the Earth satellites are being all shut off by an unknown force, and we don't know what force is doing it. It's the primordial mother. That is melanin. Melanin these are conductor intelligences, and you want to see it as an egregore, whatever. You want to see it as a transducer, a big ass transducer, a big ass supercomputer, whatever. You shut your shit off like it's nothing. Okay, and so that is why chaos intelligence ingredients includes melanin. We're shielding against certain types of radiation, monitoring radiation, and we are protecting against certain satellites and electronics and certain bullshit that gets sent in the universe way. Okay, and so that's why chaos intelligence has that as an ingredient. So the reason why we have dark energy in there is that's our creative ability. That is where we create and change states and of different types of matter, from physical states to different states, gas states, liquid states. And so dark energy is this raw potentiator. That is why we have that as a part of the chaos intelligence. And so I think I explained, I just want to make sure I explain at least all of the ingredients. So entropy becomes important. Obviously, that is the most random one. That is the most disordered state. And you have melanin and dark energy and consciousness pretty much working together like as a primordial soup to give out the ordered state of the universe that you have. Your solar systems and your galaxies and your planets and your species, your various species, and but all of this stuff starts from a very specific process. And so that is why I'm saying that these are the ingredients within chaos intelligence, which is the personality of the primordial mother. And we know what the primordial mother is. This is a melanated cosmic womb. This is what we call a great mother, creator, God, Godhead, whatever you want to, you guys do whatever you want. And so also when we come to this concept of another aspect of the primordial mother, her personality is chaos intelligence, how would we explain zero is nothing and infinity at the same time? That's very hard still to grasp your hands around, especially when you're thinking about the laws of thermodynamics, which says that entropy of an isolated system can never decrease with respect to time. It can only be zero if the processes are irreversible, which is not possible for all processes in the universe combined. That is why zero is infinity at the same time in our eyes. And so we understand that it's hard for humans to explain it because, we understand that it's hard for humans to understand it because you guys are so used to, zero means nothing. Zero means the absence of. But in the universe's eyes, zero is infinity. Okay? And so we don't see it as nothing. And so I'll be doing a whole breakdown of that pretty soon, because that's really high level, and we're trying to at least get you guys to understand chaos intelligence. So I don't want to mix these different concepts, but at least just know that the primordial mother, this dark cosmic womb with the primordial waters, primordial darkness, this essence of the darkness that gives this birth to these galaxies and solar systems and blah 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 whatnot. It's inherently feminine. Her personality is chaos intelligence. The elements that make up chaos intelligence is consciousness, entropy, melanin, and dark energy. Okay, and you guys understand what melanin is. It regulates your radiation, regulates the electronics. It's a conductor. It has a level of self-awareness and sentience that's on its own. That's intuitive. Then you have consciousness. That is self-awareness, but it embodies a level of more. It's not as intuitive as the melanin, and the melanin can also create. How do I don't even know if I should be giving this information out because I'm channeling right now. We can give it out. Yeah, the melanin is more like relates to the fusion power. It's nuclear in a sense, so it's a little bit different than consciousness. And I hope you guys understand it. You guys know that our army have been trying to take melanin and make fucking nuclear bombs. So if you guys can try to say, "Oh, she's crazy," she don't know what she's talking about. I can show you reports from the Department of Defense that they were really trying to study how to take melanin and make nuclear weapons with it because you can. It's been proven that you can do that. And so that's why I separate consciousness from melanin. Then we have the dark energy. That is the negative pressure that fills the universe and stretches the fabric of space-time. And it does so. So it drives cosmic objects apart, increasingly rapid rate, rather than drawing them together as gravity does. And so this negative pressure is a certain amount of electrons, a certain amount of negative, or they used to call it negative energy. And as you know, the negative is always the divine feminine. And so they put it right there in front of you. And then we talked about your entropy. Now remember, that is the degree of disorder of uncertainty in the system, or the degradation of matter and energy in the universe to the ultimate state of inert uniformity. And so that is what the personality of chaos intelligence is. So now we will move on. So this is what the black woman has access to. The black woman being on the planet. Primordial Mother personally put a secret code in your ass, black woman. And I know you may sound, oh, she ain't put no secret code. God ain't, Jesus or whatever. I don't know what y'all be thinking. But, and this is very, very esoteric information. I mean, people have to study years to get this shit. I mean, and damn near, they really don't I'm telling you, they really, really don't like this information getting out. And this is why the black conscious niggas kept running around saying, oh, the black woman is God, the black woman is God. And they were looking at it from, more of the biological evolutionary point of view, where they were like, okay, well, the black woman was first being on planet, then she's practiced pathogenogenesis, and, she gave birth to the black man, and blah, blah, blah. And created it, all this stuff about more from the, they found Lucy, and then they were coming from it from that point. But really, and we've always hid this information from even them, as far as the Sibyls and the oracles, is the chaos intelligence that would make that happen, in terms of, this is why the black woman is, whatever, and even in these highest levels, like of the Catholic Church, the esoteric knowledge that the Catholic Church be following, they still worship that black Madonna and baby. All of your world religions at one point had a goddess iconography in them, especially among melanated people. It's nothing new. And so there was a concerted switch to have all of these patriarchal religions and patriarchy and all this. It wasn't always that way, especially among melanated people. And even, again, a lot of this information I'm going to be talking to you about is relegated to the big wigs that run the system, that are taking orders from archonic homunculus deities that have more power than them, but they're still not like the ancient ones. They're not like they don't have the power of like us, and so they still take their orders from them, but they also know this information, but they botched it so severely it's not even funny. So when we talk about chaos intelligence, we're talking about something completely different than when you hear these certain societies talk about order out of chaos, or they create order out of chaos. And what's annoying to me, is you guys know, it's no secret that, and people have told me, and then people have it's no secret. God, how do I say this? So With my body of work and the information I've been putting out for the last 3 years, I pretty much, if I'm being honest, I pretty much put stuff out not knowing that this information was considered something that was supposed to be, esoteric, hidden, not for public consumption, stuff you needed to be initiated for. I just had no fucking idea. Okay, I just got on the internet and was chilling. I'm going to talk to you guys about why that happened and how that happened, because there's a specific reason of why that happened to me, of why I was writing the certain materials I was writing, the books, the things I was saying, but it got me to the point now where they're trying to put me at like this 33 degrees of knowledge shit. It's like, they're trying to, you're this 33 degree level. And mind you, I'm not initiating into nothing, not on this planet, not on this earth realm. No. I don't have any oaths or pacts. Like my order from, we never believed in that shit. Like no oaths and no pacts and shit like that. That's not something you would do. You have ultimate freedom if you want to, leave or and speak about these things that I am talking about in regards to chaos intelligence, in regards to a lot of the teachings that I have. This information from my dimension, and we're going into more of the channel now, so bear with me, going more into the channeling. From my dimension, this is just not secret information. It's like common knowledge, like is stuff that anybody should know, like it's stuff that we've been trying to get down here for a long fucking time. But these concepts of chaos intelligence would be at the highest level of our order that is relegated only for women to understand. It gets passed on to women. This is information that we purposely do keep away from our creations. It just is what it is. And so, with me being in flesh, like, human flesh, the world sees, I won't say the world, but like these powers that be, quote unquote, the powers that be, quote unquote, they are trying to put me at this 33 degrees of knowledge. And it's like, who in the hell that's a black woman that really knows herself can only understand 33 degrees of knowledge? That would be offensive to a being like me. And so you do have 33 degree builders. They build in the material realm against the backdrop of the derma urge on their back. And so it's rough and it's not easy, and they're builders. Through their consciousness and through the things that they have done internally to build up their mind at a certain level. Okay? But I'm going to tell you now, from my order and from my dimension, being a chaos intelligence being does not build at 33 degrees. Okay? For one, we don't build in degrees, we build in frequency. Okay? And that frequency is in pure darkness. And when it comes to this particular derma urge, so you guys would see it, to just put it in terms where you can understand, we build in 1000 degrees frequency. That's 1000 hertz, by the way. But we build in 1000 hertz, not 33 degrees. This is not me trying to elevate or we this or we that. It's not that, because we know where that comes from, and we know that them beings left our dimension, and they took our shit and started adding all types of shit to it and taking shit out. But they never, them beings in particular, never got the whole rundown on this chaos intelligence 1000 hertz builder. They didn't get all the rundown because they wouldn't just go through the process to get the information, to get the knowledge. They got upset. They wanted free will, and left and bucked up and came to this dimension. And so we build at 1000 degrees of knowledge, or 1000 hertz of chaos intelligence. This is a frequency. This frequency is enlightenment of knowledge, but we have to build in the dark. So that gives rise to the randomness, and through that intelligence, you end up birthing creativity and genuine ideas. It's through intuitive building. Okay, and so you're building from the level of consciousness behind mind. That is what it means to be a 1000 degree builder. That is what the Nakti Queen Mothership is about. That is what the Ancient Order of Kali, which is now the Nakti Queen Mothership, is in this dimension. Okay, and so a chaos intelligence being does not build at 33 degrees. So please stop trying to put me in a 33 degrees, trying to say I'm a 33 degree master teacher. That shit, it sounds weird to me. And so we build at a frequency that is in pure darkness, because not only when we are here, because Jesus was a 1000 degree, 1000 hertz chaos intelligence being, same with Tahuti. We not only have this system against us, we are crucified by our own family and friends. We get abandoned. We get locked out of opportunities. We get blacklisted because we don't play ball with what the system is set up now. We get slandered because people are inherently, threatened. It could be jealousy. But particularly as melanated women with the chaos intelligence gene, this is what they're calling the Eve gene, by the way. This is the chaos intelligence gene. Black women are relegated in a system telling us that we ain't shit. Telling us we at the bottom, when we are really everything. We are the creators of this shit. And so we are building in the dark, whereas the 33 degree knowledge, man, they build in the light, and they build in the Dharma urge, and they build the material realm. And the thing is, it's different from our order. They took what we had already had and came down here and started switching and doing all types of other shit. And so, we always known, okay, with this 1000 hertz of chaos intelligence, of enlightenment. You guys want to put it at 963 hertz, whatever. It's the same thing. But this is 1000 degrees of knowledge, not 33. Had the beings that taught you humans this information just went through the process, they would have realized that and figured it out at the end. But no, they jumped the gun. And so we're building in the dark, and that gives rise to our randomness, because you random as hell. You in the dark, in the universe, you're in the dark. And that chaos intelligence, we have these elements. We have our melanin, we have the entropy, we have the dark energy, we have the consciousness, and we have the divine feminine, and the intuitive aspect, the prime conscious, what you guys call subconscious, is prime conscious. And so we're building, and it's through that intelligence we end up with this genius level creation of universes and galaxies and solar systems. It's the conscious behind mind. And that's why I kept saying there's a level above it. This is the information that was not given out. That space, believe it or not, this dark energy is inherently intuitive. It's chaos. And so I create order out of chaos through birthing creativity in a variety of dimensions, various levels of consciousness, multitudes of archetypes, multitudes of egregores, multitudes of gods, multitudes of planets, multitudes of solar systems, of galaxies, of universes, etc. That is what order out of chaos means. That is the true definition of what chaos intelligence means. That's all it meant. This is the original teaching of the ancient order of Kali, which is now the Nakti Queen Mothership order on Earth dimension. This was the original teachings that the fallen angels were not privy to, because they were not allowed to know if they were male. Yes, we did initiate men, but again, how do I say this? And this is some deep shit, but I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Little did they know, had Lucifer hadn't jumped the gun with his little cronies and the other ones, they would have found out that angels could be promoted by the creator God to become a deity or a luminary or a tertiary god or even an adjutant. They did not know, because we don't give out all of the information. This is a system of the divine feminine that is inherently intelligent, but we don't just, we want, for one, some beings have free will, some don't. But at the end of the day, you want people to seek enlightenment and seek knowledge on their own. If they don't want to do that, if they want to do whatever they want, you can do that. But then you can't get mad when you see other people rise up in rank, or rise up in promotion, or rise up in consciousness, and rise up in their abilities to create or to manifest. Or when they get promoted. Now, we don't do things based on doing favors. Like, we won't promote somebody, because you're most loyal, or because you do these favors or these acts. We're looking at the heart space. We're looking at consciousness. So our initiations into godhood are very secretive and random, and they are done in a very ledger compartmentalized way that changes every time we make a or promote a god. Okay? Anytime we make an entity or promote a god, it changes, and it's very compartmentalized. And this is why the angels that did not understand what was going on, so you call them fallen angels, whatever, but these beings that did not, these are interdimensional beings, by the way. You can look at them as archetypes, whatever, however you want to look at it. It doesn't matter. You can even look at it as a dimension for all I care. But I'm personalizing it for human mind to understand. And based on what you guys know from like Abrahamic religions and shit, right? And so, humans, had Lucifer not had jumped the gun and riled up the 33% of the other angels. Oh, God's not letting us. I want to become God. It didn't tell the whole story. Had he just chilled out, had all of them just chilled out and did and worked on themselves, you could have been promoted. You would have been promoted to a God. And so we had been doing that. It's a compartmentalized way that changes every time. Okay, and so when Tahuti and Yeshua and Kalima was promoted to godhood, their initiations all look different. They all look different because, for one, we're dealing with a high power that is primordial, that creates different types of species. So while they all might be descendants of the dragon riders, they're going to look different. As you see, Tahuti got ahead of the Ibis. At one point, he had the baboon look. This is the archetype. This is the way he wanted to look. He ain't going to come back like that, today, like the head of an ibis or in the head of the baboon that he once had. He's going to come back looking different because this is high level chaos intelligence. This is like, shit, create the way you want to look. You had Yeshua, and so all of their promotions into godhood, their initiations are going to look different. Okay, and so at this particular time with the fallen angels, Lucifer was mad that he was not being promoted to a god, like how he saw, wondering what the hell's going on what's going on at the highest levels. What's going on? What's up with this? Why we can't be 1,000-degree builders and all this stuff and with the laws of electromagnetism and trying to reverse those laws. And that's why you see planet Earth look the way the fuck it looks, at reversing everything. And so they stormed out because they wanted a free will dimension. But had he just waited, he probably would have got his chance instead of fucking up this dimension. And now the ancient ones, they had to come back here to clean it up. And guess what? And we'll break some of this down from the Bible. But any species can be promoted to godhood. That's why it says in the Bible, ye are all gods. You're all gods of the Most High. It says it twice in the Old Testament and the New Testament. It also says, greater work shall you do than me. Put in the work. What Yeshua says, that includes humans. Yes, it includes humans. And so this is what happened with, obviously, Siddhartha Gautama and Yeshua and so many others. This is what happened to me. And so I went through my initiation ceremony in July to the chief architect of the chaos intelligence realm, which is 1,000 hertz frequency or enlightenment. And so chief architect of the universe is a code. It is a code and it is a title in our order. It's always been a title, and it's designed in a way where the criteria changes at REM based on the circumstances of where the dimension is at, or what's going on in the universe at that particular time. So it's not going to look the same. The initiation ceremonies all look different. They usually come at they come for different reasons, and so I'll talk about mine. But and again, we're doing some channeling, so I'm a mystic. I am a mystic more so than I am a scholar, believe it or not. I am. This is a lifestyle for me. I'm way more of a mystic. You guys know that I produce scholarship as well. I am a scholar. No one can take that away from me. But as far as like where more in my comfortable space, it is me and being my shamanistic mystic self, my chaos intelligence being that I am. That's more so where I'm comfortable at. And so as far as like this dimension, these archetypes down here, they are looking to be, some of them are looking to be promoted. So for one, you have Ogun. Ogun is looking for promotion to more of of our dimension, because there are levels to godhood and dimension. So Ogun is very earth based. He's a very earth based deity, very powerful deity, and that is not a bad thing. He's more earth based. It's just not. But it's a little bit different because the level is different because they work on the way to activate these gods, or to invoke say like a Ogun, or say some of these entities. It may be through offering, it may be through sacrifice, it may be through animal sacrifice, or it could be through you have to give them something in order for as very transactional. And so and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, right? But again, there are levels to this. And so we have Precious Ogun, and oh man, he's very special to me. But we have Precious Ogun, looking for, doing the work on himself, working on himself, and wanting to be promoted more into like more of the interstellar, like less earth-based, less transactional-based deity. Less, because you have luminary deities, you have territory deities, and so there are levels to it. It just is. And so he's one that is looking to be promoted in our order, which is of the divine feminine. Because Ogun is not really into the divine feminine stuff. I mean, like, he's trying. It's like, I'm getting there. Like, okay, I'm trying to understand all this shit about the divine feminine. Because he is very, very, very into, like, the masculine. And he has visited me. Like, he visited me 3 times in one night. And we've had conversations and stuff, and I'm like, man, I mean, you are very, 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 for me, domineering. For my personality, like I see his energy from his interaction with me. The first time he even rolled up on me, I'm like, you are very, very domineering to me. Like, I'm so like passive, like compared to that energy. Like. And so I'm not used to that, and it's just not like, it's just a being that's so masculine that's just not in tune with. You just don't get a feminine bone when you think about. Let's be real, like you just do not get nothing feminine out of that, or like a being that's in tune with their feminine, like Yeshua, or even Tahuti, but and I mean no disrespect at all. And so he's like, okay, I'm learning here. And so that's an interesting story to get out there. I wanted to tell you that, guys. That Ogun came to me 3 times in one night, and it's like, girl, you gotta wake up. Because at this time I was still like very much in my lower self and more of like human based, and he was really trying to get me to see myself. And at that time, like 2 years ago, I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about. I was looking like a deer in headlights. Like, what are you talking about? And he kept trying to tell me, like, honey, like, and well, ever since then we have been cool. The highest level of our dimension was and always will be ruled by the divine feminine, the primordial mother, the chaos intelligence. And so while you have beings on this dimension that have a problem with that, not all, it's just something that it just is. And that is why females give birth, and that is why women and mammals, that's why a lot of mammals are matriarchal naturally. That is why some of our most ancient, most intelligent creatures on this planet are matriarchal. That is why all of you mammals start off as girls. And so, it just is what it is. And so another entity, Abraxas, is also looking for that promotion. He's already capable of creating other dimensions and heavens. So Abraxas is one of the big dogs, but he is also on board with what is being planned down here for Earth's dimension. He's one of the ones actively doing some work down here at this point, and he's been amazing in helping us with the new plans that we have for this particular universe, and Earth dimension itself. And so, I say that to say, like, these 33-degree niggas, like, y'all botch my teachings of what it means to create order out of chaos. It is through the randomness of entropy, melanin consciousness, and art and dark energy that the melanated woman creates. So yes, we do keep this knowledge from our black sons and from black men, which is why he got his ass so mad, and he took his ass on down here, the fallen angels. And they had some women with him, and the other jealous women that's lazy as hell, females that also came down here. Okay, and so the 33% of those fallen angels that left our dimensions, they took our teachings because they were in our order. They just weren't at the highest level. That's it. They just weren't at the highest level, and they were mad they weren't getting promoted to godhood fast enough because it comes with a certain incentive. It's like an incentive package, you know. There are guys that can create universes. There are guys that create planets. There are guys that can create dimensions of heaven, multiple dimensions. You got Abraxas, you got 365 of them. You got some of the Buddhas that create. Oh man, some of these Buddhas, you see the things they do. Some of these ascended masters, they got whole ass planets of schools, you know, where you come and you go get educated by some of these ascended masters. You got some that create planets that are similar to Earth. You got some that can create universes that can destroy them. You got adjutants that have we have military galactic intelligence agencies throughout various universes that are headed by certain gods. You have all types of shit, you know, and so there's different levels of your incentive package that you would get, and this is all based on consciousness. It's literally very simple. You raise your fucking vibration. It's very simple, and so you know, but that requires, you know, seeking out that knowledge. It may not happen in a year or 2 or 3 or 10 years or even certain lifetimes, you know, if you can even, you know, put a time paradigm on it, right? If you can even look at it in time. But you do have, you know, elements of duality and contrast and free will in some of these universes and some of these dimensions, and in some you don't. And some you don't. And so that is where it's at. And in some of the beings, they don't necessarily agree with some of the plans and the missions of certain planets. Like with planet Earth, you know, you were always giving like drop feed content. Like look when you take a course, right, online, and they give you the information and drop feed. Like a module won't open up until you get through one module and you complete it, and then the next module opens up. That's kind of what we had here on planet Earth. And when for you guys already, because this was already a creation, and so when the fallen angels come down here to free will dimension, they said we ain't doing course drip. We ain't doing a drip content. We giving them everything, and we adding shit to it, and we gonna hide the shit that we want to hide, so we can always have power over these motherfuckers. And so that's what happened to planet Earth. But it was never to keep you away from knowledge of self and growing in consciousness and growing into godhood. It was you were always supposed to know certain things. You were always supposed to know very high level information. And what happened now is the whole simulation got usurped, by the way. Because it's so much. Like I don't even know if I should be giving all this out. But so you know, and that's why when they come up with the Nephilim, they got wiped out because these fallen angels did get clearance to do some genetic experimentation, but they were not supposed to go off the grid off of what is inside of humans naturally. Humans have heart. Humans have emotions. Humans they have intelligence, and so they were not supposed to go and corrupt humans to go and be evil. Or how do I, because evil is not the best word, low governing force. They were not supposed to create humans to be going into low governing force, which means doing things that do not serve earth consciousness, universal laws, and going against yourself. Going against yourself. You were not supposed to be doing that. So then when we saw what some of these creatures were doing, like the Nephilim and all that, there was a wipeout. There was a wipeout, start over. We're about to push the start over button right now, little do y'all know. Like, seriously. But it was like, you know, okay, you guys, you know, whatever. You gave them the knowledge and the information, that's fine. You know, it's like you gave them the knowledge of you know, some of the esoteric teachings. You was always supposed to be exposed to intergalactic mentalism. That wasn't a big deal. You're always supposed to have knowledge of the laws of electromagnetism, the laws of the divine feminine. There were certain things that we weren't, you know, there to give yet, like in terms of like, oh, how changing the laws of the universe, changing the laws of physics at will, like those type of things we weren't giving out yet. But it was always supposed to know that you were always supposed to know that you were interdimensional being, that you were came from a transcendent space to experience duality and contrast as in a physical state of density. You were always supposed to understand like the high level notions of sexuality and expression of sexuality for pleasure, for creation. and manifestation. What we really wanted here was for humans to understand the power of consciousness, and to understand how to create at will, and how to understand how to create, take their energy and to create physical matter from the energy, from a transducer part of your brain, from your brain horns. And so this is what we had here, on this dimension. Now, in terms of contrast, yes, that was always a thing. You were to experience contrast and go through the stages of the drip content of the education in terms of understanding what heartbreak is, and betrayal, what jealousy looks, how to work on your ego, how to work on yourself, how to work on your inner man, how to master your mind, master your emotions, master your body, and for you to be the master of yourself, self-mastery, right? So this was always important to us. And so what happened, the beings that came here to rule over you guys, to be honest, they did not do the drip content feed. They added stuff, they took stuff, they hid stuff from you, so that they can pretty much always have that power and control. And so that you pretty much all kind of trapped down here too, because you guys can get out. So they started trapping people down here too, so they can feed off the energy. Like, started using you guys as a battery as well. And so again, the teachings that they took, and they botched them and created their own version. And this is why they're hung up at this 33 degrees. And they mixed it with the order out of chaos teachings from my order, but they had no clue what it meant, because they weren't at that level yet. And so they are down here purposely, like, creating chaos. So like what you see now, they do is they create all this chaos, like all of this horrific, ridiculous low governing force, and then they bring order out of it for control and power, because they want to mimic the highest level of my order that is only reserved for women. And so that 1000 hertz frequency of building in chaos intelligence is what chaos, order out of chaos means. Okay, and so this is what our black men, this is what they want to be itching to know. This is why they overthrew the Queen Mothership. They overthrew the Queen Mothership and tried to do it, and they failed miserably. Then they created this other being. And you know what happens when you work with, when you you guys know we're going through a spiritual malediction as melanated people. Nobody should have to tell you that. You guys see how far we fell from where we were at. And so that should be common sense. And somebody certainly put that in motion. And so, the black man been trying to get to understand these things. Because he certainly, and it's not all of them that's all at fault. Ain't all of them did this. Not all of them are guilty. Not all of them did these things. I'm talking about the ones that left our dimension, that wanted to reverse the laws of electromagnetism from the divine feminine, giving rights to the divine masculine, and overthrowing that Queen Mothership, and taking our fucking teachings from our order originally that they were in, this 33% thing that they're obsessed with, and brought their asses down here and botched the fucking teachings up. And start making up shit and reversing things, because you can generate power through reversing. If we call it reverse engineering, you can reverse engineer stuff. So they try to reverse engineer instead of just going through the proper promotion. Not even proper promotion, but going through the steps to just get the energy that they were looking for, get the power that they were looking for. And so now you see, what happens when he overthrows the Queen Mothership on the Earth dimension. This happened in the heavens too, by the way. But he overthrows it on the Earth dimension as well. In Africa and in the Americas. You can see a white man got his ass. And so now the white man tries to copy his versions of his teachings. Say the black man copies black woman's teachings of the chaos intelligence and the original teachings of... I don't even want to say the name. But the original teachings of the ancient order of Kali. And he tries to copy those teachings, make his own version of it, and then the white man copies the black man's teachings and make his own version of it and botch it even further. Have mercy. And that is why you have some of the sisters saying, you really fucked up the world. This is why stolen knowledge has cursed the world. And what people know is that there are secret societies that are so secret that you don't know their name. You cannot Google them. You cannot look them up. They are higher than Freemasonry, but they are still connected. and their meetings take place astrally, right? And so in July of 2023, I had this strange astral projection with Kali Ma to sit in a meeting of the secret society that I was given the name to. I am not going to say their name, but they are very blatant that they serve Satan. They're very blatant, you know. And they had like these very unique outfits, and they were all white males. And they have more power than the people running the system. There were a couple bankers there. Well, from what I understand, they're higher than, like, say, the families that get they get the front. They got to front the thing. Okay, they have some relation to them, but it's levels to that. It's compartmentalized still, but they were pretty much very, very close. They have the bloodline. They're just very close to the interdimensional beings that are running this system, the homunculus deities that have told you guys that they are, you know, gods. And so this particular society, though, they are so power astrally that if you even try to enter their, like, toroidal field, like, you know, where their meetings take place astrally, they have mind swiping and memory swiping technology, and they send your ass back to the dimension you came from. Like, they have this high level of technology. Okay, and so me and Kylie, we were sitting in the meeting, and mind you, I didn't ask for all of this. I was minding my motherfucking business. I didn't ask for none of this. So me and Kylie Ma, she takes me, you know, we're sitting in the meeting, and I asked her, I said, like, why do I have to sit and listen to this? I don't give a fuck about these. I don't give a fuck what these motherfuckers doing. And she said, they discussing you. I said, what? And she said, they talking about you and your teachings, because they realized they misinterpreted the esoteric text and realized that, yo, it's getting real. That there was an inevitable change of guard being ushered in no matter what they do. And so they were discussing what should they do, and discussing, like, some of the you know, the pacts and some of the blood, the things that they got involved in. You know, they even knew I was there. And they was like, I can feel, because I heard them say, I can feel her presence. But we was using, like, this cloaking technology that was so advanced. Like, this wasn't my cloaking technology. This was Kali Ma's cloaking technology. I mean, it was so out of this world. They couldn't even pinpoint. They was like, I can feel her presence. And they was looking around too, and it was like, I can feel it too. I can feel something here watching us. But they couldn't pinpoint how to get us out of the meeting. So they were discussing if there was any way that they could keep their power, or now that the egregores of the ancient ones, and obviously the real crone mother, Saturn, the real primordial mother, creator god, and even the real, I don't even want to go there, the real, I'm not even going to say that because I'm going to freak humans out, made it back to this realm, basically. The real gods made it back into this realm. And humans have, you know, the people that's running this shit, they realizing, okay, it was a lot of deception. Like, a lot of these deities were straight up lying to them. And then the teachings that they were given, they misinterpret them. And so they realized they had misinterpreted all the melanated people's sciences, the science of Egypt, the science of the Upanishads and the Rig Vedas, the tantric teachings, a lot of the occult teachings, pretty much. And so Kali told me, she's like, I want you to see how powerful their technology is. We're going to go outside the building. She said, you're going to go outside this building. But she's like, yeah, Tahuti going to, you know, be with you, so don't worry about anything. So I was literally, at that point, I was transported outside of their meeting. Like this like field of where they were having their meeting at. Mind you, this is astro. This is through dimensions. And that is when, like, the agents that's guarding this room, because they got, like, kind of like, it's not an egregore, but it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I guess I would just call it agents. So they were guarding their meeting. They came out with the memory swiping device, and I remember they was pointing it at me because they was guarding the parameter. And she's like, I just want you to see the kind of technology they got. And he pointed at me. And soon as it pointed and they shot it, I'm telling you, so fast, Tahuti stepped right in front of it and blocked it. And the agent looked like, oh! And he blocked it so I can remember everything. There's this memory spike, so you don't remember shit. You go back into your dreams, you can't remember what the fuck you dreamed about, right? When you wake up from your astral projection. And he hurried up and appeared and blocked it. And then he told me, he said, I just wanted to send a message to these people. that we hear and we serious. And then I woke up in my bed again. Like I literally just woke up in my bed and I was like, what the fuck kind of dream was that? I was like, whoa. So that was really, really wild shit. So yes, what they are teaching, and a lot of like, and people really be, so excited about the occult and shit, so excited. And I'll be like, damn, like, it's half-baked knowledge from the Order of Kali and the Order Tahuti, which is not earth-based. Okay? And so we had our orders in the realm of the primordial mother. The primordial, or what it just is what it is. We had our orders in that realm. And so we went out to other dimensions. We also sent out there's other entities and angels from that realm of the primordial mother. And this is the realm that created the Anunnaki, the humans, the Atlanteans, the Pleiadians, the Lemurians, the Octarians, the Avians, the Andromedians, the planets, the stars, the solar systems, the galaxies. What you guys call angels, what you guys call, demons, what you guys call, like this. There is a realm that creates a creator God realm. It just is. It's a primordial realm. And so that is where there are some orders that are there. And they're very ancient, and I'll talk a little bit about it. This is going to be a long one, guys, so bear with me. I'll talk about like a little bit about this chaos realm as it relates to like where we come from in terms of some of the descendants of the dragon riders, which you would see mainly in the ancient order of Kali, but you'll see that very heavily in a lot of the original Jew teachings, the Kabbalah, like Yeshua being the descendant of the dragon riders with Mary Magdalene and King David and King Solomon and that whole bloodline, Noah, all of that. But it's right there in terms of like this chaos intelligence stuff that I'm talking about. It's in the Bible. So let's go to where we want to start. Psalms 19. We'll start with Psalms 19. I'm going to actually do whole esoteric breakdowns that are way more high level than this, with pictures, I'm going to break it down. We're going to break down the science of all of this. But for now, I'm literally going to skim through all this stuff like quickly. But eventually I'm going to give you I'm going to really do a whole nice little breakdown videos teaching you this stuff on Nakti Church of the Higher Self. You're gonna have to go there though. I may put it on this channel. I'm not sure, because again, I really wanted to keep this more scholar based and not so metaphysics. Even though I kind of blurred the two. But Nakti Church of the Higher Self is where you're gonna get like a lot of that esoteric teachings. I just put like an esoteric video out right now talking about like what happened down here with the fallen angels on Nakti Church of the Higher Self. So you guys might want to go there and subscribe there if you can. And so Psalms 19 talks about the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth her handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no language there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. So obviously the heavens declare the glory of God. This is the universe, and the firmament showeth her handiwork. That is obviously the earth realm, this dimension. Day unto day uttereth speech. That is the day unto day. That is reminiscent of the light, reminiscent of the conscious aspect of the mind. This is Psalms 19. Psalms in general is it's a grimoire, but it's also a psychology book to understanding intergalactic mentalism. And so, day unto day is the light conscious aspect of where you utter your heka. In your conscious mind, you utter your speech, your resonance. This is also symbolic of what the sun would give, which is your pineal gland. But more so, the conscious mind. Day unto day uttereth speech. Okay, and so that is your beta state. That is your beta state, and also your in the light. In the light, you utter your heka, you utter your resonance. And then night unto night, your prime conscious. In the darkness, night unto night, or what you guys call subconscious down here. Night unto night showeth gnosis, what they call knowledge. But knowledge, etymology is gnosis. Experiential experience with the divine within. That is what that means. Your conscious mind is going to utter your speech, your heka, day unto day. I utter speech, and the night unto night showeth knowledge. The heavens declare the glory of God. The universe declares the glory of God. And the earth showeth her handiwork, the firmament. Day unto day, with your conscious mind, the universe is mental. This is what Tahuti was trying to teach. Day unto day utter his speech, and night unto night through the prime conscious mind is going to show your gnosis, going to show knowledge. And that's what's gonna program that prime conscious mind. And that's what's gonna show your knowledge. Whatever you utter in your speech, whatever heka you speak in a day, whatever heka you speak in your conscious mind, in your awake state. When you go to that theta state, you go to your delta and theta state, you're gonna show up that knowledge. And that's how you create your reality. So that's the aspect of the chaos intelligence, the night unto night part, show of knowledge. That one is a little bit different than chaos intelligence, but I'll give you one. We'll get there. Let's go to Psalms 23 real quick. Now I'm gonna go fast though, because I have the other shit to talk to you guys about. Okay, so God is my shepherd; I shall not want. She maketh me to lie down in green pastures. And I gotta really break this down because this one is so intricate. It's not even funny. I got graphs and pictures. I gotta show you ass. So God is my shepherd. The seed of godliness within you. This is what this meant. This is royal intergalactic mentalism for the royal bloodline. Okay, and so this is code for us. We understand what all this stuff means. God is my shepherd is your pineal gland. God is your shepherd. It's the seed of godliness within you, the soul aspect of your consciousness. That's why I say in the Psalms, ye are all gods, ye are all sons of the Most High. God is my shepherd, that is your pineal gland, I shall not want. She making me to lie down in green pastures. Lie down is your theta state, okay? That's your meditative state, okay? Lie down is also your delta state in green pastures. Okay, so it takes a skilled shepherd to find a place of green pastures. What is a green pasture? That stands for the flail that we use. This is a symbol that we use. The green pasture stands for a flail, and that flail means fertile land that represents the abundance of the fertility of the land. This could be found throughout all of Africa, by the way. It could be found in Egypt. It could be found in West Africa. It can be found in spiritual traditions of Africa, as well as the Jewish, melanated Jew teachings. Okay, and so we understood always that to make you lie down in green pastures mean for you to meditate. You're meditating in theta and delta state in green pastures, so that as a shepherd through your pineal gland you find a place of green pastures, which represents fertile land and the abundance of fertility of the land. What does that mean? The creation of your IPU, the creation of an ideal parallel universe. Green pastures. We're going to lay down in theta and delta state meditation through the pineal gland. That's your shepherd. She shall not want. And you're going to meditate on green pastures. You're going to lie down in green pastures. What is your ideal parallel universe? She restoreth my soul. No, let me keep going. I'll skip the verse. She leadeth me beside the still waters. This is very important. So what does still waters mean? Still waters always meant, and you can look this up for yourself, disambiguation. Disambiguation, what does that mean? To remove obstacles to understanding, to make clear. This is a symbol for alchemy. Still waters has always been a process of alchemy. Always, still, you can look this up yourself. Disambiguation always meant alchemy. Okay, so it's right there. Theta delta state. You discipline the flail, disciplines the body. That is what green pastures is a code for. Fertile land, it represents the abundance of the fertility of the land by disciplining of the body. And she, the pineal gland, remember, she leadeth me beside the still water. She leadeth me beside the alchemy states, the disambiguation states. She removes those obstacles to understanding. That is why I said, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. She maketh me to lay down in green pastures. She leadeth me beside the still waters. She restoreth my soul through the renewing of the mind. She leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for her name's sake. Okay? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. What is thy rod and thy staff? The rod and the staff is your fucking brain horns that connects, that you see through your eyes, that gives you, that you see photons with, okay? And so the rod, the rod was always, symbolic of like a shepherd's crook. That is the keeper of your emotional body. And the staff is what you master your mind with. And this can be found, once again, in Egypt. It's the royal bloodline. It's the same codes, same intergalactic mentalism that we always, that the royal bloodlines who are connected to the interdimensional beings that rule over you, we get the same codes. And they were told to give y'all the same codes. And particularly King David. And so, again, this rod, this is the keeper of you. This is the shepherd's crook. Okay, it's right in front of you, shepherd's crook. And when you take that shepherd's crook, and you take that staff and you cross them, looks just like your brain horns in your brain. That is what that is a symbol for. That's what you, and you look at the brain in terms of your emotions, in the terms of your logic and mind. You're going to master your mind. You're the keeper of your emotions. You master your emotions. And with that green pastures, which is a symbol for the flare, you're going to discipline your body. You're going to lie down in theta and delta state in green pastures. You're going to create your IPU, your ideal parallel universe. And this is what all of the royal queens and kings needed to know if they were going to rule. Because you needed to take charge over the Derma Urge and take charge over King Solomon. You see him taking charge over the rings and stuff and building whole temples and shit. And he's not the only one to do that, by the way. And so that is what that meant. Okay? Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Now, as you know, in particular at this time when King David was around, the Derma Urge was already in place in terms of the fuckery that these fallen angels were doing down here to humans. And the split between, the interdimensional beings in terms of what side they wanted to be on, whether they were going to serve God or whether they were going to go the other route with the other way. And so, as a king, and we know David had a lot of spiritual warfare he was dealing with, and a lot of physical warfare he was dealing with. Thou prepares a table before me through that IPU. God is the shepherd. Through that IPU, you're gonna prepare that table. That you can prepare a table of enlightenment, of abundance, of joy, of peace, in the presence of your enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. My conscious mind runneth over. And so this shepherd, which is the pineal gland, that through theta and delta state in green pastures, through your IPU, your fertile land that represents the abundance and fertility of land, and through righteousness, you'll restore your soul through that still waters, that alchemy. And when you remove fear, you got to open up the chakras. Oh, another point. Still waters also was a symbol for your initiate as a king or as a pharaoh into the Scorpio energy, initiate of Scorpio energy, the Kundalini. Okay, because you have to waken up them chakras, and you have to get rid of fear to do that. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, the brain horns are with me. Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This is the creation of your IPU right here. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over with anything from your prime conscious that's coming out of your fucking conscious mind. That's pretty much what my cup runneth over with joy. My cup runneth over with abundance. My cup runneth over with love. My cup runneth over with peace. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of God forever. The house of God is a dimension of consciousness. Okay? And so I covered that briefly, but that is what that meant. This is elements of the chaos intelligence that the royal bloodlines were able. Some of them did get information passed down to them. I'm going to do a much more thorough breakdown of that, where I'm going to show you pictures. I'm going to show you like some of the historical context of the flail, like always representing abundance, the green pastures. I have to break that stuff down. I got to show you the hooks itself, the staff and the rod and the crook. I got to show you all of that. And what that always meant in the royal bloodline teachings of Jew Kabbalah, as well as Egyptian pantheon as well. And you can see this through Psalms 18. King David was clearly initiated somehow to this order of the dragon riders, because he talks about in Psalms 18 how that dragon came and got his ass when they was after him. he dealt with a lot of stuff. And he had some siblings write a lot of this stuff for him too. It was a group of him and black women that was going through a lot. It was witch wars, occult wars. This is the game of the kings, the occult back in those days. And so they had teams, and they had he had a bunch of black women writing a lot of these a lot of this stuff for him. And so there you have it. They speak about and it's much more. We talk about, we got some, I'm doing a whole series on the Yeshua teachings, Yeshua series. It's going to literally be called Yeshua series on Naki Church of the Higher Self, because his teachings, this was one of the, he's one of the greatest in intergalactic mentalism, and understanding some of the things from our order as a descendant of the Dragon Riders, and he doesn't get enough credit for, obviously there's billions of people worshiping him, but it's quite baffling how behind humans are, given as much information that he gave out with his teachings. But they did that by design, and they removed 45 books at the Bible, so they did botch some of his stuff too. But even the little bit of stuff that they did give out of what he was saying, it's like this stuff is pretty dope. And that's why when people study the Emerald Tablets and they study and they think, Jesus trying to copy Tahuti or whatever, but it's pretty much they're from the same descendants of the same order. And so yes, they both are the Son of Man. And so you're going to see some similarities in the teachings, and you're going to see that there's some parallels and corollaries in terms of Jesus, who he learned from, what he learned, how he learned it. Okay. Again, these are royal bloodlines. We didn't just study one religion. Jesus clearly was in the East studying Rig Veda, Upanishads, and Buddhism. He was in Egypt. He studied a lot of the Egypt stuff, and that's why he came back and was healing motherfuckers and turning water into wine and all this shit through intergalactic mentalism. And they killed his ass for it, the secret societies, because you're not supposed to know that stuff. They didn't want humans knowing that stuff. And he was telling humans how to do it, pretty much. Teaching other humans how to do it. How to organize your dimensions of your mind. That's what the 12 disciples are esoteric code for, by the way. We sent him down here to do that, by the way. He was given clearance from our order to do that. And when he came down here, the beings that runs this dimension got upset and orchestrated a hit the Roman Empire with the help of you know who, and they put him on a cross. And it made it a nice little running joke that God so loved the world and all this stuff that they put in there. So that he gave his only begotten son and sacrificed us the son and the blood, and eat his blood and body and crackers and juice for the Catholic Church. And it was all play, man. But I don't even want to get into all of that, because that's a whole nother thing, right? And so back to chaos intelligence. So now I want to talk about my initiation as Jenny to this architect of the 1000 hertz frequency of the chaos intelligence realm. And so I had been dealing with horrific witchcraft and secret societies and covens, etc. And I was born into a family that pretty much made satanic pacts. History of bloodline that's in secret societies and orders. And so they put me in they had I guess some type of pact or whatever they did, but it was pretty much like a monarch MK Ultra program. And I was a ward of the state, and I was in foster care, and whatnot. But I was still heavily monitored, because whatever deal that they didn't fall through with is what let me into the foster care system with the government. And so I went through monarch social engineering, which consists of various dissociation tactics. Not all bad at all. My life wasn't all bad. I wasn't molested or anything like that. But dissociation tactics, various rituals, and different. It's hard to explain this stuff, but a lot of people go through this, by the way. It's you have people talk about the Montauk program and different Mother of Darkness initiations and etc. and all this type of stuff. All that is real, and it deals with interdimensionality in terms of how you get your training. Okay, so in terms of how you get your training, it is through those disassociation tactics, through astral realm. And so many children you talk about, someone's being sacrificed to the system or whatever. You can have many children are sacrificed to war goddesses and to other gods by their family. Now, you either do this through pacts and oaths. This could be literal death, where you literally sacrifice them in death, or you can sacrifice them in consciousness. And that is where a deity would take over their consciousness. And, this is what MK Ultra is. And so this is also a botched version of teachings from our order. Once again, we do have a version of monarch intergalactic mentalism that we train our royal leaders on how to tap into different archetypes of dimensions to get access to incredible amounts of power and intellect needed to run a civilization, needed to run an empire. Okay, and so the ancient pharaohs, as well as some of the kings in Africa, they went through that process. Particularly the ancient pharaohs. They still had, at that time, a more similar version to our monarch mentalism that didn't deviate to what you see now. Okay, but it never had nothing to do with trauma-based satanic ritual abuse to program altars into someone so that you can control them. That is a misinterpretation, once again, by the interdimensional beings running this system. But from my order, from the Chaos Intelligence Realm, yes, we had a monarch mentalism where, with our royal bloodline, when they were children, we would, just like you watched the show Avatar, and they had Aang out there, and Aang was talking about chakras and 9 years old and shit. The children, it's 5-year-olds that understand fucking Metter Netter. It's not a big deal. These are people that will eventually be in charge possibly of a whole planet. Okay, be in charge of a whole, be in charge of creating a fucking universe potentially. These are and so they would have to have training. They would need to know how to tap into different archetypes of dimensions to access incredible amounts of power. They would need to activate their dormant DNA if they're a particular species, that are in more of a contrast free will planet. You need to know these things. Particularly if you're a mixed hybrid, with humans, you have different DNA. Say if you are a descendant of Anunnaki and Lemurian and Pleiadian and all these mixtures and stuff, and you got different shit, and you gotta, you would need to be able to know how to tap into different archetypes and dimensions. Different archetypes could consist of the archetypes of the divine feminine, the archetypes of the divine masculine, different gods, altars, and all this stuff. But we did not do satanic trauma-based mind control where we give you a trigger and you go start acting, you do whatever we want you to do and trying to make us. This was the reverse engineering shit that happened in this dimension, once again. And that was the bullshit, that happened with a lot of people, a lot of people in this dimension. It's quite incredibly disturbing. So what happened at the behest of Abraxas, in particular, the one that sent Jesus down here, believe it or not, if you guys study some of the Gnostic texts, you'll see Abraxas mentioned. You'll see him mentioned in the earlier versions of Christianity. Because he was the one that gave the call to send Jesus down here, by the way, and as well as me, by the way. As well as the primordial mother, so at the behest of Abraxas and the primordial mother, the children that were sacrificed down here to say certain gods, like Kalima or Tahuti, we were taken in by the primordial mother to be taught the proper forms of this science. That includes intergalactic mentalism, the original versions of the ancient order of Kali, which is Atlantean, it's a higher level of Atlantean Freemasonry, and monarch mentalism. So many of these children became angels. Many of them became egregores of love. They're ascended masters, and some of them are even gods now. Mind you, Kalima never required a blood sacrifice of children or of anybody to harness her energy, nor does the primordial mother. And we sent countless beings down here to tell you guys that, but y'all never listened, or you just killed them. So humans, they kept engaging in this practice to feed these homunculus archons, telling you that they are gods on this dimension, and even mistakenly sacrifice you to gods who actually think this is very, very low level to them. It is very, very abhorrent to them in low level. And to do, as far as what they're doing to some of the children and even black women. They do this to a lot of black women, by the way. And so what would happen by these gods, once if you were sacrificed in consciousness through the MK Ultra, or if you were literally killed in sacrifice, then those deities would, if you wanted to, you can shoot you. They gave you a choice, like, there's a lot of times it was done because of your energy marker, and because they already had did your gematria and realized that you were an angel anyways, or that you were something special or going to do something. So they already had it marked out, as far as who they were going to get. Some people with high levels of energy, right? High levels of electrons rather. And it's all black women in particular. You have so many fucking electrons, and can change your photons at will, and all types of shit you guys can do that your chaos intelligence gene. They call it Eve gene. It was very deep shit, by the way. And so they took us to their rim, and they taught us incredible amounts of knowledge. They gave us access to rims and knowledge that you would never dream of. And so, like, it was like, okay, joke's on these motherfuckers, right? So it's like, and they sent egregores. They sent them all back down here, by the way, through the form of egregores, high-level dimensional beings that you can't even see. So it's quite funny. That's why everybody's like freaking out at the top, like, what the fuck did we do? Because it's a bunch of egregores of love, and it's a bunch of angels that then floodgated this damn planet, ascended masters, and even gods. Okay. And so, when it comes to me personally, when I came here on this dimension as a kid, I was already elevated, because I was sent here. I didn't have to come back here. I didn't. I always knew that too. At 5 years old, I literally knew that. I was like, oh shit, what the hell they did down here? I was shocked. Like, I remember at 5 years old, I used to very much understand love, consciousness. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, the I am, and I used to say I am back, like I am. But I was shocked at the energy I was feeling at 5 years old. So I had always knew that I was from a different dimension. I always knew that. And so I had, and this was one of the things that Ogun was like, when he kept visiting me, like, he was like literally trying to, like, because at that time I was in my lower self, and he was really like, child, wake up. You were an angel, like, you came down here to do something. And so I was already that, and I knew that at 5 years old. And so from the dimension of the primordial mother, I had came from that dimension already and it was just born in human flesh. I was born in a war zone through my family that made satanic pacts. And it was all by design, by the way. And so as a kid in human flesh, obviously, I was already an angel in my oversoul. Now, you guys know what an oversoul is, and for those who may not have that esoteric knowledge or whatever, oversoul is just who you are in your higher self. Okay? And so I had always knew that. And so as I was going through trauma, being that my birthright was sacrificed to Kalima through consciousness, not through, and eventually they tried to do literal death, but I was taken by her, and she taught me the original versions in the teachings of intergalactic mentalism, monarch mentalism, the original teachings of the chaos intelligence Freemasonry, the original teachings of the chaos intelligence, how universes are made, how to change the universal laws at will. And it was not just her. Tahuti taught me some information, Yeshua, Azili Dantor, Ogun, of course, a couple others, the original Lucifer, believe it or not, also, and I've talked to you about how he came to me in September as well. So in human flesh, obviously as Jenny, they would come in dreams and through quantum entanglement, and they would just give me knowledge. And that is why my body of work looks the way it looks. And I'm not bragging, but that is why I'm so intelligent. Like, if you study my work, you read some of my books, and sometimes I can be a little hot-headed, but my body of work, if you look at the Naki philosophy, that level clearly is coming from a higher realm. Now, as I produced my body of work, it put me on the radar of powerful like covens and secret societies, because I unknowingly was putting out information that they didn't want humans to know. I just thought I was just regurgitating the teachings of my higher self. I'm like, these are the teachings that I received, from the primordial realm. I'm like, I'm just, everything that I remember, like, okay, like through the dreams I would get, and through some of the quantum entanglement that I would get, that I would just write my books. I would write books, or go and do a teaching, do a lecture, talk about stuff about electromagnetism, like the law of gender, and the Nocti philosophy, and the Nocti self-redox for black women, and the Nocti queen mothership. All of that stuff was visionary stuff that I saw in my mind, and I just got it out. And so I just had no idea that it was putting me on a radar like that, and so I was always watched by the government based on my bloodline, by the way, but the monitoring had ramped up more. And that is when, these occultic attacks started happening in terms of assassination attempts, shadow banning my work, pretty much sending agents around me to try to do more programming through radionics, so in our frequencies and what have you, particularly radionics, voice-to-skull technology and all that shit. And so from 2020 to 2022, unbeknownst to the powers that be, while all this stuff was going on, the radionics, Kalima had used Agori practices to rush my enlightenment process. It was to rush, because the Agori through the left-hand path, that is actually the fastest way to enlightenment, but it's also the most dangerous. Okay? And so those 2 years I was learning high-level intergalactic mentalism. Okay, and original levels of chaos intelligence, which at the highest level is not 33 degrees. It is the chaos intelligence realms, which is 1,000 degrees or 1,000 frequency hertz of building in the dark, the primordial mother. And so that is why I produced the Nocti philosophy, in which, those secret societies are still trying to understand and scrambling all over my information, but won't just come to me and ask me about my teachings. They attempt to kill me and assassinate me, but then try to steal my information, and don't even, until I guess so they can fucking misinterpret it again, and I don't know what the hell they're gonna try to do with it. But it's not all of them. It's not all of them, by the way, because it was some of them. We communicate through gematria, and even telepathy, and some of them was saying, like, we are this African secret societies that have visited me in the astral realm have told me that they there for me. Priestesses have told me what was, this is what's happening to you. We got your back. We got your back. You got your back. Some of the secret societies that follow more of the teachings of Yeshua, more of the biblical teachings, some of them had told me, we never came out, and we have been very, very secretive, but we this is the first time we're coming out, and this is our name of our group, and we follow more of the Essene teachings, we follow more of the Gnostic teachings and whatnot. And so so it's not all of them at all. So I don't want people to think, oh, she's coming at all of them, and it's not that. But they didn't want me teaching to humans, pretty much. It's not all of them, but it's just that the stuff that I was talking about, But I was sent here to do that by Abraxas and by the primordial mother, by the way, because of what happened to me through my bloodline, making these weird ass pacts and putting me in a monarch program. So in 2022 of September, I had like an awakening experience, and then they had came after me, like, they were trying to lock me up. I'll say, oh, she's crazy, doing the death rituals and the skull to voice technology and the sonar wave beams and all that stuff. That really had happened again. And so when I was going through my awakening, I was talking to other people about, like, oh, this is cool, da da da. And I guess, they weren't really my friends. They were agents. They go back and report, da da da, and they hurry up and get your ass out the paint when you start talking about certain gifts or certain knowledge, right? And so when that had happened, though, that is when the original Lucifer, because there is a current entity that is calling themselves Lucifer that is not Lucifer. There are two Lucifers. One real one that really did come down here and was upset, got kicked out or whatever, and wanted humans to be enlightened. Then you have the primordial, the grandmother one that Lucifer is named after, and then you got the imposter entity deity that's an archon that is a homunculus but has more power than humans, considerably more power, that is running around telling them that they Lucifer. And that's the one that's obsessed with mind control. And so I had got a visitation from the Lucifer, that the original Lucifer that had left, the one that, and he made it very clear to me, very, very clear. And this was in September of 22, after that had happened, after these people were trying to get me to sign contracts. So it came to me 3 times trying to sign, at least 6 times already trying to sign some fucking weird ass contract. and you know what these contracts are. And he said made it very clear: do not sign any contract or get in any version of what they are doing on this earth realm. And he made it very clear that he wasn't approving of the things that were happening to me, the art and then he said, he felt that I was special and brilliant. And he said, stay free, do whatever the fuck you want, teach whatever you want. And that was literally what he told me. And I said, what? And I remember the energy I felt, from him and everything. And it was just very casual. It was very like, because I was like, well, what the hell's going on down here? Because I'm like, they literally try to lock me up from teaching this information. But he made it very clear. He was like, nah, that ain't me. Like, I ain't with that shit. I ain't got nothing to do with that shit. I ain't with that, with all that, locking people up and trying to keep them from teaching that. He has since admitted, I've made some shit that I shouldn't have did, with our realm, the chaos intelligence realm, but I know for a fact that he told me, don't get involved in any of that shit. Be brilliant, keep teaching, and teach what the hell you came down here to teach. Whatever you was told to come down here and teach, or whatever was in you, let it out. And so that was that. And that was the first interaction I had with that being, and that was it. And I never really had that interaction again, because we are on two sides of polarity of what we believe in and how we approach things and how we do things. Like, you got renegades, and so the original Lucifer is a renegade. And I had that renegade energy, but I'm also I do follow the order of the ancient order of Kali, the Noctic Queen Mothership, the order of the primordial realm. So my power comes through God. And so, some people, they don't believe in submitting. They don't believe in any, submitting to a God or a God outside of themselves, or having to acquiesce to any God outside of themselves. And so that's their thing, whatever. And so, they can still have gnosis and knowledge and enlightenment, but we just have two different paths. And so, but even that entity is having some certain, reservations about their decision now, as far as this renegade stuff. And I've been a renegade before, so I know what it feels like, particularly in past lives. And Kali Ma, she has I don't want to get into that. I'll continue going. So in July of 2023, I had told someone that I thought that I could trust that I had a visitation from Kali Ma, and that we were working on like these new esoteric sciences. And I told them that a prophecy that a friend told me about me, right? So a friend had told me a prophecy about me in regards to my teachings and in regards to people that were around me, right? And so me thinking that this is a person that I could trust, like I literally left my will to them, I told them about that visitation, and like it was like a sheer panic. Like I remember picking up like this fear from them and a sheer panic, and I had no idea what I did wrong, but they had kind of like dropped everything and then went on a computer and then was like trying to maintain a composure. And the funny thing is that Kali Ma told me 3 times not to go to that person's house, and I didn't fucking listen. No lie. Like as I was getting ready to go, she kept saying, you better not go over there. You better not leave this house, honey. And I said, I gotta get out of here. It's like I kept saying, because I had called the person that I thought I could trust. I'm like, yo, it's like a fucking tabernacle in here. It's like, yo, we going. It's a different dimension. I was literally being fed like all of this information. I could feel like the glory of God all around me, presence of God. And so I said, I need to be more grounded. I need to get around some humans and some, you know what I mean? Like I just felt like I just needed to be grounded, and because it was too high up. Like to be honest, it was just too high for me. And I remember she kept saying like, she said, don't do it. She had told me 3 times, and I kept putting on my coat, putting on my, I said I gotta go, because we were designing some very high level intergalactic mentalism of how to combat voice to skull technology, and she was teaching me this stuff, and I went to that person's house and just showed them everything, right? This person I thought I can trust, right? And so 2 days later after that happened, I had got a call from a power broker, that like a power broker, like one of these gatekeepers, right, telling me that 7 state attorney generals were questioning about me and freaking out about me, and that these families that run shit, they were concerned, but they were ready to go to war to keep their power. Mind you, I'm looking like, what the fuck? And this person's in politics, mind you. So that is obviously when the second assassination attempt happened. And this is when they used the sonar frequencies against skull voice technology, specific type of radiation. It's like this new type of radiation that makes you feel like you're burning, and it can actually cause heart attacks. So I tried telling people in my personal circle what was going on, and it turns out they were all in on it. Nobody cared. And so they were like, we told you not to go and teach this stuff, and we told you to keep your mouth shut. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't I teach what the fuck is in my motherfucking soul? Like, what the hell? And so I tried, I'm trying to tell people in my personal circle, and I just remembered I actually remember, no lie, one of these interdimensional beings that I told that I'm related to. And then we gotta go and tell he was playing, good cop, bad cop, trying to make it seem like he was the good one that walked away from the satanic pacts or whatever, and he's the good guy, and I'm going to him thinking, I'm crying to him and shit. And when I said that I'm gonna tell what God has told me to tell, that nigga straight up threatened to put me on a cross again. This is some deep ass shit, and I know it was all on the phone, and I know, like, obviously, shit's monitored. All my shit was monitored, phone calls, everything you could think of, computers, everything. So I know that had to shock the hell out of the people listening on the phone, because we were talking about this esoteric shit right here, like this shit that I'm talking to you guys about, and about Yeshua and all this stuff, and the past lives and all that. And he literally said, "Oh, I see a cross. I see a cross. Walking with a cross. You better shut up." like I put you on that cross again. And for those who catch the codes, they catch the codes about who I am. It's some stuff, man. And so they use a specific type of radiation, because they really didn't want me going out telling all you. Like, I was like, I'm gonna go tell. Like, we need to tell the humans. We need to go tell the humans the truth, because I'm still just one of them niggas. And so with me not having any initiation, I don't have no oaths, no pacts. I don't believe in that. And so, like, my knowledge was fed through the higher creator realm. And so you can't get mad at somebody because they get knowledge fed from the higher creator realm. That's why they killed Yeshua. Like, you can't just go after you know what I mean? It's just like that's foul. That's foul. Like, it's not right. And so they were particularly they were using this radiation thing, and that is the second time in July of 2023 when I was like, oh, I'm gonna go, we need to teach the humans this. That's when they tried to lock me up again, and they resorted to the gang stalking, the mobbing, targeted harassment. But I want to tell you the story of what happened when they tried to kill me with that radiation again, and like this radionic stuff that they use, or sonar wave veins or whatever. And this radionics is just high level occult magic. But I can't explain whatever this technology they were using, but it was a particular secret society for sure that I know was using it. And so I was beamed with like this radiation, and it was very obviously hard to stand. It was hard for me to physically stand. And I remember I called the power broker that said it, the 7 state attorney generals. And I remember saying, I said, they're using some type of, and I remember knowing intuitively that he didn't care and that he was in on it. Like, I felt it in my soul. Like, even though he kept saying, he was like, go to the authorities. But I could tell that he was like, we getting your ass. Like, I could feel it. And so I was beamed with this radiation, and it was painful. I remember being very painful and very hard to stand. So I was leaning over my bed, and I said, well, whatever happens, like, if this is it, then this is it. But like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what this technology was doing, but I know it was making me hard to think. And I remember it was making me hard to stand, and I remember it being a lot of pain. And so that's when I was transported, as far as in consciousness, obviously in dimensionality, by Kali Ma to the realm of the primordial mother. And so I had decided to play this song called Peace and Love on repeat, trying to like, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, so I said if I was going to die, at least I was okay with that. But I was like, I would want to at least listen to one of my songs. Like, I wanted to listen to songs, And so I remember putting this song called Peace and Love. It's like by Masego and something. I forgot the other words. I put Peace and Love on, and I said, because I knew it was sonar beams, and I knew like if I was to go to the authorities or something, nobody would give a fuck for when, oh, you're crazy. It's like when you start talking like that, it's like, oh, you're just being paranoid. So it's like it was no point to me in my head. It was like whatever the fuck is gonna happen is gonna fucking happen. And so I'm trying to fight off this stuff, and that is when primordial told. That's when I went to that room where Kali Ma was like, woo. With my consciousness, because I was in a lot of pain, and I was leaning over the bed, and I really couldn't stay holding myself up, because like whatever this technology was, it make you like kind of paralyzed where you can't even move. Like I couldn't even. Mind you, I'm trying to like get on the bed, and I couldn't even move my legs to get on the motherfucking bed. This is what this technology was, right? Whatever this frequency, whatever this radiation, whatever this thing was. And so this is when my consciousness was transported to the realm of the Kali Ma, the primordial mother. And so this is when this Godhead, this was like primordial mother, you guys call, I call it creator God. You might say it's Yod He Vav He, Krishna. It doesn't matter. Kali Ma, it doesn't really matter. But whatever this is the primordial God that creates all the other gods. Okay, this is the creator God. Okay, and she told me, she's like, you're going to be initiated into the 1000 hertz frequency as chief architect. And that I was being promoted from the angel/human to a god. And there were other black women that were there. And these were like sisters that I had remembered, because we were, again, with this program, there's other people, obviously, other sisters sacrificed to, in death and in consciousness to these gods. And so they were there as well. And these were women who had also been through what I had been through. And they were oracles. They were very gifted, talented black women who were priestesses that had been told they were crazy, had been told they were this, had been trying to lock them up, trying to kill them and all this stuff. And so they were there as well, And they were sitting in the back watching like this initiation ceremony, and the primordial creator God. And I knew it was chaos intelligence. Like I was like, oh, we're in a realm of chaos intelligence. And she was explaining to me some of the powers that I would have, and how the radiation that they were using, and these beams that were designed to like kind of make me go crazy or whatever. These beams that were there to kind of kill me. She made it clear that they have done this to countless black women. She's like, they're doing this to black women and so many women in general who are gifted, like the psychics, the messengers to humanity, the ones that they had sent down here. And she said, enough is enough. She was like, enough is enough. And she said, every time they do that to her babies, she's like, every time they do that to my babies, to the women I send down there to teach, and to the prophets I send down there to teach, not just women, but because they do this to the men too. She said, I fix their mind, or they go to our room. They come to our room. And she literally held my mind. Like, this is so powerful. She held my mind in her hands. Like, they weren't really hands though. I can't really explain it because I couldn't even see her face. Like, I was trying to like look and see the face, but like I knew it was chaos intelligence. I knew it was a primordial creator God. I knew it was like high level. I knew it was like so powerful. It was unreal. And very, very powerful, very, very loving, and it sounded like a black woman. That's all I know. It sounded like a black woman, but I could hear her voice and shit. Like I knew it was a black woman, but like I couldn't see a face, And so like, but she would send like visions of what it would look like. Even though I'm standing in front of it, she would send of like, this is what I'm doing. So the vision in my mind's eye that I got as I was in front of this, and as the other black women in the back, just sitting watching, they were like really happy. They had like these huge smiles on their face, and the vision I saw was her hands on both sides of my head, like in a very loving manner. Like how like you go to you're in a church and they believe in healing of the hands and all this stuff, and so her both hands was on each side of my head. While you're facing a person, and she was like rocking me like a baby, back and forth, like from side to side, with her hands on the sides of my head. And and this was what I was seeing in the mind's eye as well. And she was like, I'm reversing all of this stuff that they trying to do to your mind. I'm reversing all of this stuff. And she was reversing all of these damage that the waves and the radiation was doing. And she just kept laughing at us because they was ramping it up. Like, I'm telling you, like, you could feel, like, you could hear, like, noises and you could hear, like, all this stuff. And she kept laughing because she said, you're not going to die. Because she said, all I'm going to do is just change the laws of the universe. She said, enough is enough. She said, they killed Yeshua. They thought they got away with that shit. They killed so many women. She said, they killed so many women. She said, they have done this to so many women, in my bloodline in particular. Because we are related to some interdimensional beings that have been trying to keep us from telling the, like how they tried to, like they did with King David and King Solomon. He just took control of the Dermage and shut it down, as far as like as far as keeping his power and protection, But King David was struggling with that, and Yeshua, he was just on a whole nother wavelength. He was like, me and the Father are one, like whatever, But King David, he had really struggled with fighting that spiritual warfare stuff they had been trying to do to my bloodline for aeons. And women in my family, I'm telling you, like, it's very, very powerful women in my family, esoterically, and they have been driving them mad or fucking killing them or locking them up. And so she just said, I'm going to just change the laws of the universe in regards to radiation. I remember she said, I'll never forget that. She said, she was saying that she was speaking in a different language. She just was like, I'm just going to change it. At will. And she said, I'll change it back when I'm done. And so, she was very upset. She's like, they keep calling. She's like, they keep doing this to black women, who are prophets. They keep trying to lock them up or kill them or call them crazy. And she pretty much was showing me all these ancient codes, quantum codes for how she changes the laws of the universe. She kept showing me like this genius level of intelligence that I have never seen in my life. But she held my brain like in her hands and just put new codes in it. I mean, she just fixed everything. But anything they were trying to do, anything they were trying to put in my head, any other radionics, even the sonar wave beams, any frequency shit they were doing, radiation shit they were doing, like it was like nothing. Like I had never experienced anything like that before. Now, mind you, this is in consciousness, so obviously, I'm still in this zone. I'm still in this dimension, and the sisters in the background, the black women that were in the background, they were crying and they just kept saying God is a genius, because like she was showing us some of the codes too, some of the other ones. She wouldn't show them everything because she was like, this is your initiation, but she was showing them some of the things too. And she was like, and she was doing this through a song, mind you, like showing codes in our mind's eye through a song. And you can hear her saying certain things. She was talking, but she was saying da da da, and we were just rocking from side to side because she was like, with her hands on my head, just like fix it, whatever, trying to put all this stuff in my brain and make sure, the quantum codes that she was doing and how she was changing the laws of the universe as they was put like using these beams or whatever. And I had never in my life had seen anything like that. I had never in my life had seen anything like that. And we just kept saying like, oh my gosh, like the Great Mother is a fucking genius. Like God is a genius. Like, oh my gosh. Like we just couldn't believe, because it was a lot of things in my life. Like it was a lot of things that had been attempted that just was avoided. And she kept saying, see, this is why they tried to do this and we did this. And this is why when they did this, I did this. And this is why when they tried to do that, I did this. And like the way she was explaining it and showing us in our mind's eye, it was just like, how did you think of all of that? And it was just, she just kept on like the computer. It was like faster than the fucking speed of light at the way this way the primordial mother computes information, processes information, changes shit, changes the quantum, the way she works with electromagnetism, the way she works with entropy, the way she, like, I had never seen nothing like that, the way she works with dark energy. And just like I'm literally watching this, like seeing this in my mind's eye as she's healing the stuff that was going on with my brain and with my body and with my consciousness and what I was going through during this attack, this attack with the sonar beams and shit. And so we just kept saying, God's a genius, because she was singing, again, through our mind's eye, we could see the frequency of the code she was keeping us, how she was keeping us safe, and how she kept changing shit at will. And again, like, I cry a lot when I think about this. I'm not crying now because I had some time to process this, but it was just genius at a level I've never seen. Mind you, love too. It was genius and love of the level that I had never seen before. And she said, I'm giving you a part of me. I'm giving you a part of my brain. I give you a part of my power. I don't have a problem with it. And she said, in a certain point of the initiation, the other women were telepathically cut off from receiving the conversation that we were having. And she gave me clearance to release this information, and this went on for hours. And then when I woke, obviously came back into consciousness, I was able to move again, at least. And I did get into bed, because it was like in the middle of, it was the middle of the night. At that point, I was able to move, and I remember not being in pain. For one, I was in a little pain, but so that's why I got into bed. I was able to at least get back on the bed, and I did go to sleep, and I did go through a primordial soup ritual. She told me that was going to happen. I went through a primordial soup, and she was okay with it. Those who were sitting already on it, so they were laughing. They thought the shit was funny. But I did go through a primordial soup ritual, and then I woke up, and I was literally able to walk again and get up. And I remember, because at this level, you could see stuff through different astral rooms. I remember saying, how is she? I remember them saying, like, how is she walking? How is she moving? I remember because I was moving shit all around, and I started to clean up my place. So let me clean up again. And I remember the next day, it was like impossible. Like, how is she able to do that? Like, what the fuck? And so, but before that had happened, I literally couldn't even walk or even think straight till after that visitation with God. And then after that happened, I was fine. And those occultists, they certainly were shocked. I will say this, at the highest level of who's calling the shots, and I think it is the big dog, the original big dog. That maybe, I'm not sure, but they weren't shocked, because it seemed like they knew that this shit is real. Like that girl is not lying about the stuff she's talking about when she's talking about this chaos intelligence and these different dimensions and these different realms, and how these original teachings got botched, and how they don't have a full story. And I think the one that is calling some of the shots down here know that I'm not lying. And so, but then they came again, as far as like some of the attacks, some of the things that they were trying to do. Then at that point, it was just like mobbing and the mobbing stuff that they do. And that's when the primordial mother literally let me borrow her power on multiple occasions to get out of certain situations and to avoid death. Now, this is classified information to the government, I'm sure. But if I was to tell you what I was doing and shit, you wouldn't believe me anyway, so there's no point. It's like certain people that saw it, or certain people that know, or people that's running this stuff, that was putting this stuff in motion, they saw it, and they know. And I was shocked myself, so I still had a lot of fear in my body, and I had to navigate that, because I still had a lot of fear. All this was new to me. I didn't know what the hell was going on. You just wake up and you're under attack, and then you put it, you start, you're in fear, and you be shocked what you can do when you're in fear for your life. And I do remember the primordial. I remember her energy coming through me, and and I'm doing all this stuff, and and then I'm like, okay. And again, I know, like, and that's why I'm still living, by the way, still at least making these type of videos and shit, because that covering is still there, and I thank God for that. But yeah, that being is something else, man. The primordial mother is something motherfucking else, and it did sound like a black woman, and it was chaos intelligence. It was chaos intelligence, that room that I went to. Yep. And black woman, I say that to say that the chaos intelligence is the Eve gene that is inside of you. Okay. And since you give rise to the other races that are on this planet, the divine feminine, chaos intelligence, you'll see it when you recognize it. You can tell when a black woman or any woman has a lot of chaos intelligence and energy surrounding them from their primordial mother. But that is what, when we talk about the mothers of darkness and all that stuff, this is the stuff that they misinterpreted from our dimension. Like they really fucked up this planet with their fuckery, man, because they misinterpreted melanated women's science. And then instead of just going to the melanated women and treating them with respect and asking them, for some of the things, about some of the knowledge that they know, they just rather take those knowledges and then kill them off and try to hide it so that they can keep their little ridiculous system going. And so, you see, there's a change of guard happening with the divine feminine. And melanated woman has this chaos intelligence Eve gene inside of her. And you have to have it, with you having that advantage, black woman, it is time to tap into that. It's time to tap into your power. It's time to tap into your genius, your higher self, and create and live your dreams, okay? See your beauty inside as well as outside. And for those of us that are the ancient ones, some of us that are descendants of the dragon riders, the sibyls and oracles, that are intergalactic and mystics or prophets, some of us black women that are that, and we were sent down to teach and to give a message from the Great Mother. Because some of us are literally just sent here to teach, or some of us are intelligence missions, whatever. But I've always been a teacher. I've always been a mystic. It's nothing new. And so, just know that God is with us. If we're on this mission, and we're not sure. There's going to be a lot of charlatans that come out, and humans are going to get they're going to be duped. If they don't pay attention, if they go after the shiny things, if they don't go into the things of the inner man, of the higher self, and the inner awareness, if they skip those processes and they try, and this is what fucked them up the first time. They wanted power, but didn't go through the inner processes of awareness, so they wanted to sacrifice people to get power, to harness other people's energy and animals and goats and sacrificing all that weird ass shit. And all of that stuff that they went fighting for was given to me freely by God, like the level of power that I have. It's pretty uncanny. And I haven't hurt one animal. I haven't hurt one bird, not even a plant. well, maybe a plant. No, I haven't even hurt a plant. But I haven't had to go and take anybody else's energy or harness anybody. I've done it all for myself. I've went within. You can change the level of electrons that you create at will. You can change the level of infrared rays you generate at will. You can change the level of your resonance, your level of your electromagnetism field at will. If you tap into the higher self, you really can. You don't need anyone outside yourself to tap into your power, into your genius, and into your IPU, is what Psalms 23 talks about. But I just broke down a little bit of Psalms 23 and Psalms 19. And so a lot of these misinterpretations of things, it's horrific, but there's a change of guard. But for those of us that are of the Sybil Oracle class, of the Royal Queen Mother bloodline, just know that we are protected, and God really knows what's going on down here, does not approve of it by a long shot, of what's been happening to humanity, what's been happening to planet Earth, and we call her Mother Gaia, whatever. And so, if you're charged with ushering in the age of the divine feminine, keep doing that. But remember balance, and remember the level of working with certain frequencies, and the levels of, for not all frequencies are created equal. So if you're working through fear and hate, that's a very, very low frequency. Shame, guilt, grief. Get rid of all of that. Get rid of guilt, shame, grief, fear, jealousy, envy. Get rid of all of that stuff if you want to go to a higher level. It's as simple as that. You're going to have to work on it for anybody that's dealing with that. And particularly as we usher into this age of divine feminine, there are going to be black women in high positions of power. But you're going to have to remember your history, your nature, and your primordial self. If you try to align with this system, because they're going to try to reverse it, and they're going to put black women in power to work for their system. And if you go that route, then you are selling yourself short of levels of the likes you have never seen, and you will answer for it. So if you go against your higher self, you're going to create a hell of your own making in consciousness. And so again, chaos intelligence is linked to the divine feminine. That's what it is. I really wanted to do a video on that, coming from the topic of the primordial darkness that we talked about, and talking about resonance and then a chrome mother Saturn. I felt it was very important to talk about the chaos intelligence as a element in primordial waters, okay? And to remember that chaos intelligence is the personality of the primordial mother, and that is a combination of consciousness, dark energy, entropy, melanin, and the birthing waters, aka the divine feminine. And so that is what I leave you with. Thank